how angry you are that I was singing.
You were not singing. You were standing out in the middle of my drive, hollering at the top of your voice and calling it singing. But it was not singing, it was just hollering. And you were doing this so that the neighbors could see what kind of person that you are and what kind of person I let live in my house.
And then what'd you say you were going to do? Put me where?
If you keep staying out there and hollering at the top of your lungs, yeah, I would have called the police and had you removed.
And gone
That's
where?
right.
And taken
I don't care where.
Did you
just
say
away from here, because you're not going to do this around my house. That's all there is to it.
And did you say mental institution?
I'm saying if you do stuff like that, you need to be in a mental institution, because that's not kosher, man.
His son's a rapist and brings women home
You see,
and rapes.
He's changed the subject.
And he's okay with it. He overdosed in the house. He overdosed in the house.
It's somebody else's fault.
And he violated his parole and assaulted me. They threw away my clothing. My car is stolen. And all I was doing was singing.
That's what you call it. That's God awful.
And
you can't sing worth a damn.
Well, really. Okay, so it tells me it's drinking, like I slept, like I had to take my stuff, my sleeping bag, because I felt safer down here, and they told me I had to bring it upstairs, and so he could stay here all night and drink, do drugs, bring women home when he's a convicted sex offender. This is my pool table that I worked when I was 14. I had a job when I was 14, and I bought this pool table with my own money, and I'm not allowed to use it. I was not allowed to work out. I was not allowed to work out. They stole my guitar. They stole my phone. And like, you have to know that the only reason I stuck around was because of my grandmother. And I didn't open my mouth for 3 years. I did because he's right. He's absolutely right. That he can call the police. He can call the police, and he can say whatever he wants. And that's important. So the police have came, and they have arrested me. And I guess I have to say, can you tell everybody who?
Don't leave me alone. That means that there's something wrong with you, that you can't leave me alone.
Did you come outside and yell at me?
I hollered at you for yelling out in the driveway.
You came outside and yelled at me for singing outside.
You weren't singing. You were yelling.
He's an 82-year-old man, and okay, so he obviously doesn't know singing.
I know singing.
Okay,
and I know hollering.
Okay.
You are the worst singer I ever heard.
I am not the worst singer. That right there would be enough proof. I can't be the worst singer. If right now I'm proving that I'm not, I can keep a tune. Like, it's like, I can keep it simple for you. Is that he called the police. The police came to the house. What he said is he switched the ownership of the house to my father, and my father just wanted me to go to jail because he overdosed in his bedroom like 2 weeks ago. I have footage of it. All right, he's insane. Like, the happiness that I receive, he takes that happiness, and when my grandmother was happy, he would take her happiness, and he assaulted my grandmother. Like, do you just hear what he said? Like, he is controlling. These are the things that people do when they're controlling. Like, he wouldn't let me talk to a stranger at the store because he would feel embarrassed. He would feel embarrassed. And growing up, I know this because he made me feel embarrassed. He made me feel embarrassed. And you can't escape these kind of people. And the police, I'll calm down because it's important. The police have green lighted him and my father. Okay, and the police did not arrest them for assaulting my grandmother. And and so because he has that problem and I do not, I am being blamed for every single reaction he tries to justify. His reaction. I get blamed for his response. And he blames me to justify it. Like, you can't just be happy for somebody. You can't just be, I'll say it again, you can't just be happy for somebody. Like, they literally they have, like, your family, and it's completely legal to lie to the police and have all of your belongings taken from you, and to lie to the authority, and they assaulted me. They assaulted me, and because like if the police greenlight them, if I would have fought back, like I would have been in trouble. And the evidence that I have supports that. And so, like, he cannot handle his emotions. Like, I have to sit here, and if I don't do exactly what I'm told, that will happen. And where's my freedom? My grandfather lets my father drive his car, do drugs, drink in his car, bring women home. Doesn't care that he's a convicted felon. I'll just stop at that. Like, you must see the sickness. We live in America. I'm pretty sure that if I want to stand outside and hum a tune or sing a song outside, that we can do that in America. And I'm pretty sure it's against the law to threaten to call the police at 3:00 in the afternoon. I'm pretty sure. But do you know what? It's a really bad story, but the police will see it like, yeah, you know what? Today's the day, man. Today's the day that we're going to hurt you. And I have been hurt by the police for doing that, for just singing. Like, I literally have lost everything that I worked for. And like, and if I go to court, I can't go to court for it at this moment. So, like I don't know what I should do about it. I don't believe in taking away somebody's right. I do not believe it. I do not believe taking away somebody's right. But I also believe that if somebody's rights are not equal, and they were taken away unjustly, that there's an eye for an eye mentality. There's an eye for an eye. because I've never threatened him. Now listen, I've never threatened him. I've never like talked bad about him except in my defense. I would never initiate. I've never initiated. Never initiated. I've asked questions. I've asked questions because I need to know for sure that he's unstable. And you would think the evidence would support itself, but it doesn't. I mean, I would have just sat here and recorded these things happening, and I never went outside to sing, then this conversation would never happen. I had so it's not okay. Somebody gets released out of prison from being in prison their entire life, not me, comes home and yells at my grandmother, doesn't help out my grandmother, did not help out my grandmother at all, and then tries to get me arrested. Threatens to kill me. He threatened to kill me. I have it on text messages. I have it on camera. He brings criminals home. Like, what the police are struggling with figuring out, what are we going to do about this? How long is he going to jail for? Maybe. It would be life. It would be life. Because you know the rest of the story. You know the rest of the story. And everybody else, normal people are going to say, look, it's like, we live in America and we can pretty much think and speak and do whatever we want as long as we're not creating violence. And if anybody infringes on your freedom, then they will be handled in the appropriate way. And so the police department have to address this problem. And why like, the only reason I was outside, by the way, because it's cold out, was I was taking out the garbage. Because I was picking up after my father. All right. Like, my garbage goes in the garbage can. My dishes get washed, and then they get put into the container. Like, and all he has to do is tell the police that I'm not abiding by his idea, which his idea is that my father can do nothing wrong. His idea is that I stay here in this room and listen all night to my father and women, when he's a convicted felon, do drugs. And while his idea is to let my room, put a machete in this room after to mess with me. Because he and my grandfather sat at the kitchen table, pulled out a knife, and said that they were going to lie to the police. That basically they had messed up so many times that they're going to lie to the police. And that's how they're going to handle it. And the reason I'm back here is because I let that emotion die down, and I'm able to, and I needed more evidence. And I don't want to sleep outside. I didn't speak for 3 years. I did not speak for 3 years, or sing, or play guitar. Okay? For 3 years. My aunt, my uncle, both my aunts, like, they hate me. My father hates me. My grandfather hates me. The only person that cared about me was my grandmother. And guess what? Nobody cared about her. Nobody cared about her. I was the only person. So I took a beating. I took a beating after a beating after a beating. Like I've never threatened anyone or even or so much as laid a finger on anybody. I struggled stirring. I lost so much mass in my muscle that I struggled stirring. Like picking up a chair was difficult. I'm wearing the same clothes right now. I'm wearing the same clothes because mine were thrown away. I thought just by laying here and being quiet from the start would have like made them okay, but they nothing stopped them from assaulting me and threatening my grandmother and hurting my grandmother. That's who they are. That's who they are. And I thought maybe after they took my belongings away that like I thought like there's nothing more that I can give. There's nothing more that I can give. So maybe that would be it. I had a car. It was brand new. I worked for it. And I was told I needed to take it back to the dealership because I did not deserve that car. That's what I was told. The day I bought it, I was told to take it back because I did not deserve that car. My own money. My own money. I wouldn't have came back here and gone through this, but I was responsible for my grandmother. I was responsible, regardless of what the law says. Regardless of what the law says, I was responsible for my grandmother. And nobody was here. Nobody was here. And there's and yet nothing's being done about it. Like I've been deprived of my rights. I've been deprived of restitution. I've been deprived of my liberty. And you want me to show malice? You want me to show malice? Like it's in the evidence. It's in the fact that if you look at the past, if you look at my past, and then you see what happened, it looks like I deserved it. It looks like I had it coming, like I deserved it. But when you actually look at the evidence of when I came back here, and you actually see how evil people are, then you can understand the psychology of why some people will hurt other people for being happy. And why they'll lie to the police. That's all I'm going to say in this.